Hello, hello. Don't worry. I know we're a little bit late. That's just my fault because, God, what a day. And the other two ladies will be joining us in a second. I've just sent them the link, so they're coming. Yep. No makeup. Just nothing even approaching a makeup kind of day today. But I do have some wine. I hope you do too. Are you on your house party? There's Nellie Thomas. Hang on a sec. Oh, God, look how well lit she is. Wait till you see this. Look how well. Oh, you're so well lit for a second.
You know what I did?
What?
Aside from the fact that I've prepared two, because last week was a shit show with like trying to make one last for 2 hours. I actually got my daughter's laptop, commandeered it, so I could sit out there in the area with lighting.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there with the laptop. Do you think the fucking laptop's got the appropriate browser for this thing?
Ah, has it not?
Kevin. Wrong browser, Kev. The IT around this joint, I tell you what, it is out of control.
We're starting with Kevin early because look at your background. It's stunning. And look at mine. Look what I've realised.
Well, I'm still in the laundry. It's nice out there, doll.
Who cares?
It's like I've got a lamp, but I might have to.
Don't do that. You looked fine before. Do you know what that is over my shoulder?
It's a fan.
That
is a washing machine?
Nuh-uh.
Is it a cat bed?
No, but close.
A dog bed?
No.
A rabbit hutch?
It's a cat thing.
Let's see
if Yvie knows what it is. Hi, Yvie.
Hi. How are you all?
Hello, beautiful puppy dog.
Oh my God.
Hello, babies.
Really she's not.
She's so depressed.
She's like, I am on television and I am not ready.
I don't. Yeah.
I haven't got my face on.
No.
I've only done one eye. Look, she only done one eye.
Oh, girl. I saw a lady at a tram stop like that once at Toorak Junction. I saw this old lady and she was so beautifully turned out and she only had one eyebrow on. I thought, fuck, that is my future.
Yeah, all our future.
Yes.
It honestly is. And you know what? That's why we've got to be there for each other. We've got to say.
I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. I did not step in, but I did get my eyebrows. I got them tattooed on.
Me too.
I was going to say, yours don't go anywhere.
I got them tattooed on.
Hers are tattooed on, mate.
They are now, yeah. It's a long time ago.
Mine are fabulous. I'm so happy with them.
Same.
They look like hairs.
It's life-changing. To wake up with eyebrows. It's just like,
oh my God, it's like, I grew up with my parents' friend. I still don't know how old this woman is. She would never, ever tell any of the friends, not even her own husband. Her own husband had never seen her without a full face of makeup. She would wake up at 4 a.m. every morning and put the full face on.
One of those.
That's alarming. That is a little alarming.
Do you remember when you were first taking fellows home and you were trying to steer them away from your face all the time?
I've literally never thought that.
And it was so funny.
Really?
I never thought that.
God.
I'm sitting here right now in my pajamas, screaming to at least 5 people.
You could have popped on a lippy now.
I could have covered up. I'm getting a lot of pimples, this COVID pimple. I am.
I did last week, yeah.
Detoxing.
Oh, I don't think so, babe.
The opposite?
My body is not a temple.
Yeah, that's not my mail. No.
No. Hey, how are you both? How's the week been?
It's been tough, but yeah, before we move on, Yvie, can I just show you what's behind me? Because we have had a correct answer, but I bet you know what that is. Do you know what that is?
Is that a cat bed?
Oh, no, you don't know. This is exciting. Guys, we have had a few. Robert knows what it is. That is an automatic cat litter tray. It's a robot. It cleans itself every 15 minutes.
Where does the litter go?
In the bottom. You put a plastic bag in this bottom tray, and it turns around and it dumps the poo and the clumps of wee in it, and then you just pull the tray out and tie up the bag and Bob's.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So you don't have to scoop anymore.
No, Nick, that scooping cat shit
Can
is
we get one of those made for humans? Oh, that's called a toilet.
Sort of is a toilet.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, quite a while ago.
Toilet,
Yeah.
that is.
And if you, where did you get that thing?
Yeah.
Online. I bought it online.
eBay.
Somebody else, someone else told me about it, and I actually got two because I foster so many cats, and I was like, fuck, the kitty litter.
You are the cat lady. Like if anyone like me is binging TV, and I'm particularly like I'm all over Tarek and Christina, flopping like there's no tomorrow. The first thing they say is, "Oh God, is there a cat post?" Because they know that if it's a derelict cat house, the smell in that house is like.
Well, I don't have carpet, so that helps a lot. But I've had a massive cat week this week because Husey adopted 2 of my foster kittens, which was amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
He really did. It was so wonderful. You can see them on his Instagram if you want to. 2 white, beautiful cats, and I'm so happy for them because he is a. I call them Antonio and Gemstone. Louis names them with stripper names, always the girls. So
I love it.
I call her
How
Gemma.
old is Louis?
Louis 10. I always call her Gemma, but Husey's daughter's going the full Gemstone as well. And they've changed Antonio to Marshmallow because he's all white. And
Sounds a bit strippery as well.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy for them because Husey and his wife Holly are just the most beautiful pet owners. Like their pets are 15 and 16, which is why their kids find them a bit boring in lockdown because they're a bit old. So So then that enabled me. It's funny how life works out. This morning I helped a lady at the shops up the road to catch 2 little feral babies.
Oh, good.
And so I've got these little babies.
Because I used to do this in Sydney with Pause and Recover. You catch the feral cats and you get them castrated. And then you release them again, or
we don't release them. We adopt them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good.
But you know what I realised?
So many a night that we would have to. Release them again because unless the cat society wanted them.
Moral of the story: get your cats like.
Well, get this. This is what we realised.
They can start.
Yeah, this is what we realised today. Because of course they were frightened when I first caught them, and this trap that I have, it's very humane and everything. But as soon as we got them home, they weren't feral. They weren't crazy, right? Darlie could pick them up straight away and everything. They've just been dumped. There's someone's let their cat have the kittens and let the poor mother care for them and everything, and they just dump these babies at the shops in the car park. Yeah.
And this isn't that part, but this is a metaphor for like Corona lockdown, isn't it? It's like when people are like they behave crazy, and then once they feel safe, then they kind of like get back to normal. Oh,
there's been a lot of them around here.
I want to foster some kittens or a kitten. So when all of this is over, or even before, if we can, because I've got 2 dogs that have never been around cats, so I want a kitten.
Yeah.
Because that's the best way.
And aren't they beautiful dogs?
I've never had cat. I've had all dogs, rabbits.
You know what?
Same.
You're fine. We used to have this beautiful cat called Furio, and he was like badass. Like he was named after Furio from The Sopranos, and he lived up to that name. And hey, with any dogs I've had, and we've had a procession of dogs of different sizes through our house, the minute they came in, he just sorted them out. Like our latest he walked right up to him as soon as he walked in, smacked him on the face, and then he went, the first time Chewy ate dinner, he went up, pulled his mouth down like this, grabbed the food out of his mouth. I'm not even kidding.
I know, Hughesy's so worried about his dog Barkley because Barkley's a bit of a brawler, you know.
Yeah.
And Hughesy's like, I'm just worried about Barkley. And I can say, mate, they can jump. Like they're fine. He can't.
They will. Oh, bitch, they will go.
Yeah. Do do you remember that 6-part series, Life Without Humans?
Yes, wasn't it
One of the
amazing?
best things I've ever seen in my life. And I talk about it often. I say to people, if you've never seen it, go and
What
watch
channel?
it.
I haven't seen it. Writing it down.
It starts with the first day humans cease to exist, goes to a week, goes to a month, goes to 2 3 months. Like, as the things happen,
Close to home.
the first things to go are the poor domestic dogs, because most of them are trapped inside. And then it goes to like one.
And also because we've bred them to have no survival instincts, right? So
yeah.
And even
pugs, basically. Pugs can't do anything without humans.
They are the Australians of the animal world. You know? Like, everything's been so easy. Oh my God, I can't walk down the shops. I'm going to die.
Yeah, here's a pram. We'll put you in a pram. I've had many more of my dogs in prams.
Yeah.
But then they go a couple of months, once the electricity goes, the generators come on, and then once they go, then the flora starts to take over, then you start, it's all a lot of CGI, obviously, because it's projecting. But it goes into the New York subway and everything, where bears and things have started to, But the really weird thing is, it doesn't happen until the last episode, and you've gone, I think it's 100 or 1,000 years in the future. Like, this is without humans. The Earth goes back to being a really good thing.
Yeah.
But guess who is the king of the world? The top.
Who?
Domestic cats.
Yeah.
Because they were domesticated, but they never lost their feral instinct.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something that I've heard from people who do autopsies and stuff like that? They will eat their owners.
Oh God, yeah, they'll eat your face off.
Jesus Christ!
They will eat your
guys.
Honestly, every time I do this podcast, I keep making Sex and the City references,
guys,
but I remember Miranda saying, "I don't want to be one of those single old cat ladies who dies and have a cat eat."
They will. Yeah, like they will.
Time out. I can't find. We kind of promised the special listeners that we might provide some uplifting material.
This is just a fact, mate. This is the sort of thing that
feeding on their own owners in lockdown, Michelle,
mate.
Too close to home. Jeez, message them. People watching, the three of you, message these fuckers and say enough.
This is fine. This is settling a lot of workplace debates, Nellie. A lot of debates have been had about this topic, and I'm just settling it for them, all right? Dogs will not mostly, but cats, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, they've got no loyalty. We know this. We delude ourselves.
They're just smart. They're just smart.
Cat feeder, an automatic dog feeder.
They're just smart.
Cat feeder was invented first. A dog will lie next to a dead body for days.
That's it.
I fostered a dog that came from a backyard where the neighbour had died, and we still don't know how, ended up in their backyard, and that's how they found the dog huddled next to the dead body of the neighbour, like obviously trying to keep him warm.
Cat
Be right up here.
Cat would not do that.
Such a great day, and I'm feeling really uplifted by all of these stories. I appreciate it, and I'm so glad to be talking to you both.
Yeah. No, you gave us homework, Nellie.
I did. Well, can I add my own homework firstly, which is that my favourite thing that I saw this week on TV that also involves animals, so bringing various threads together, is did you see Thursday night's episode of Gogglebox? They previewed a show that was related to animals, and there were dolphins playing with pufferfish. Get this. You know why? Because the pufferfish secretes this little poison that makes them high.
Oh.
These little dolphins just suck it on the pufferfish. And I thought,
talk about smart.
Hey?
Dolphins are like
smart.
They are the smartest animals. They are human. There's no other mammal that they are. I used to work at SeaWorld, one of my many million jobs.
Wow.
And I just worked on the rides or on the microphone, that kind of thing. But we used to share the canteen with the mammal trainers.
Yeah.
So I used to just, absolutely go like question all about them. And they always were like, dolphins aren't what you think they are. Like, they are not the sweet animals that you like. If we didn't have fish on us, they would snap our necks. In a beach. Like, they would fall on our heads on purpose all the time. Like, we have to always keep them in line. Like, they used to treat them quite dreadfully, which, animal activists are right onto, like all of those kind of SeaWorlds around the world. But the one thing that I remember finding out is that they are the only animals that have sex for pleasure, not for procreation.
Really?
Like, they'll do it for procreation, but like us, they will have sex for pleasure, and therefore they rape as well. They're big game rapists.
Yes, I have seen that. Yes,
too. It's awful. Like teenagers. The teenagers, they get in a gang and they will like go all around a girl and batter her up.
No.
It's quite hideous. But dolphins are so entirely intelligent. What you can get them to do and what they know and what they know about the ocean as well, like, using a pufferfish as a
going their own
hallucinogenic
driveway and lighting up a scuba for Friday night. Like that, it's like, and they're going to invent tools next. We'll tune in and they'll have a bong. Like,
people will never be the same again.
No.
Okay, because it feels like it was about 3 months ago that we spoke. I don't even remember your homework.
Oh, the homework was, think of the best night of your life.
Oh, yes. No, I thought we had other homework.
It was a hard one. Michelle's face is how I felt about it every.
You know what? I wasn't going to land it on you both. Because I don't like prepping questions. I don't like supplying questions because I think you get a different vibe. But I thought that's hard. You need.
That's what I said. I said to my friend Tom during the week. I said preparation is the enemy of honesty.
It is.
Isn't that profound?
Yeah.
Right. I don't mind.
I was very drunk.
Yeah. Really?
Oh, blind.
Michelle Laurie? God. Yeah. So, Yvie, what was the best night of your life, darling?
Well, I kept going over every night going, there has to be a better one than that, because that you should go with your first thought.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe how many nights that kept coming into my head that ended up embarrassing, humiliating, or full of shame. And I was just like, I was Brene Browning myself, going, own it, girl.
Lean into it, girl.
Just
Lean
don't be so
into
ashamed of your
whatever. The whole point of that stuff too, the reason I wanted to ask the question, which I hope is obvious, but I'll say anyway, is because I think we're, Brene Brown, yes, you want to be in the moment, but we also really need to remember now that this won't last forever. Yeah. And there will be times when you go to the pub and get pissed and, you can't put your bodysuit on. Like, I was
talking to a friend today and she was doing imagine the hugs that are going to go on in the world when this is all over. Imagine the gratitude of, like, just how grateful you are to go back to do the thing. And I went, no. I said, when I'm hungover, I go, never. Ever take for granted feeling normal again. I said, I go get hammered the next night. Or when you're really sick and you're just like, I'm never taking my health for granted ever again. And then, I'm at Macca's the next week.
Yeah, it's true. Or you eat it and you think, never, like, I feel disgusting, I feel sick, I feel, 24 hours tops.
I feel that's the whole point, isn't it? Isn't there something that goes like when women give birth, they have that hormone that comes out so they won't not do it again?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Yeah.
That didn't work on me. No, that did not. I mean, in all honesty, that didn't work on me. I remember every fucking minute, every second.
But did it stop you from having children again?
No, but it made me do it very differently. So the first time, I sound like your initial friend, like, this will be all love and light. I was like, birth center, I don't want any drugs. Here's my plan. My nana had 12 kids. I can do this. I'm completely fine. It went for 36 hours.
Oh, my God.
36 hours. So the second time I went in and I literally said to the midwife, I said, I really don't want to be rude. I just want to be clear. if you wait too long to give me that fucking epidural, I'll be furious.
I'll
Like,
kill you.
whatever you have available, I want right now, and I want this shit sorted out. And you know what?
I would.
Yeah.
It was 7 hours. It was done. I mean, second babies often are, but it was like 7 hours without being in agony.
I just always think of doing a shit for when women tell me, because I've never had children, and I just sometimes have. That's the only thing I have is that crampy poo. So I'm like, 36 hours. And I can't imagine it. I just can't. I'm like, I would have it gone within 36 minutes. So
well, that
I mean, you know what? It's one of those. I think it's one of those things, though, that the anticipation is so intense and so frightening. And then oftentimes, like, I knew I was having a cesarean, so I knew it would be, most probably nothing. But it's the anticipation of, oh God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What if? You know?
Well,
and in the end,
I mean, it's a completely different pain to what you expect. Is the thing. Like, I thought I was going to hurt when it comes out. That's the thing. Like, I thought I'm psyching myself up for the idea that once the head comes out, that's going to hurt. And trying to imagine what kind of pain that's not the pain. The pain is the body being cleaved apart.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh.
My cousin was like, that was the only pain that killed me, was when the head came out. And then the doctor put his finger in to feel. And she said, I'll never get over that pain. So I think it is different. But the amount of friends that I've had, I've watched them.
Is that a sweep?
The sweep.
The sweep. The amount of friends I've had talk to other women while being spoken to while pregnant, women who've had children who frighten the life
totally
pregnant woman. So I think what you're saying, the anticipation
is
because of other women telling them their bad stories, instead of saying, do it. Like, I just,
and do you know what, it doesn't matter how many times you say to people. And again, it's a bit like now with, Corona stuff. It doesn't matter how many times you say to people, look, I'm aware that I don't need to know anymore, please. Yeah. Don't tell me any more birth stories, or don't tell me about how many people have died in Italy, whatever it is. I'm not mentally coping. They still do it.
It's like that's the thing with cat stories. We'll just keep telling you about cat stories no matter what you say.
Because you know what? I swear to God, I am not afraid of death. I swear to you, I'm not afraid of death, but I am afraid of the last 4 hours of dying of COVID-19. Like, and when these assholes print these stories of like, oh, it was the worst thing I could have ever experienced. Let me tell you about how bad it was. And I don't read them anymore, but I read maybe 2 of them, and I'm like, oh my God, suddenly I'm terrified of this thing. Whereas before I was like, I don't want my mum to get it. I don't, because she's got emphysema. I don't want my husband to get it because he's a smoker. Now all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God.
You don't want to get it.
No, I'm petrified of this thing. It's so horrible.
I think the panic's moving. That's different stages of where you'll be worrying. Like I think I was telling you, Michelle, I had one day where I was like completely almost like manic about cleaning door handles. Cleaning door handles. Now I'm kind of like, if I remember, I'll give them a wipe down. But it's like moved to other things, or it's,
It goes with what we're saying, doesn't it? You go through your phases of panic and I'll never, not be this diligent with things or grateful. But we just change and, I mean, I think that's the human nature.
I'll run a marathon. I'll never do this. I'll never do.
What did you say?
I'll run a marathon. I'm going to do 0 to 5. 0 to 5.
Yeah. I'll do that in a pause. 0 to 100.
Please hear about your best night.
Yep. My best night was, I think it was about 2002. I was a professional singer at the time, so I used to have this residency at the at Sydney Star.
I didn't even know you could sing.
Yeah, I can sing.
Oh my God.
And that's really funny because I've always had a lot of my friends say, you are such a waste of a singer. And I'm like, I know exactly what you mean. Because, I don't have a passion for singing, but when I sing, I can really sing. And people are like, so annoying. Like if I could sing like that,
If
I
I
would
could
use
have
it all the
any
time.
skill in the world that I don't have, it would be singing.
Singing. Everyone I know says if I could have a gift, it would be singing. And I say to them, if I didn't have that gift, that would be mine as well. And I still fuck it off the wall. I still throw it against a wall and just do nothing with it.
Let's put a pin in that.
I still practice every day though, just because I'm a trained singer. So I just have that naturally in me, the breathing exercises and the scales and all that kind of thing. And so it's more of a calming.
Is it too late?
Hey?
Are you born a singer? Like people often say to us, are you born a comedian? Can you learn to be a comedian? Like different people have different views. Can I learn to be a singer even though I'm shit?
Yeah, I think, but you will never be any better than you really are naturally.
There's a ceiling.
I was taught by an amazing opera singer, and her pitch was perfect, but it didn't sound good.
Wow, what do you mean?
Like,
no.
I do get that.
Have you ever heard Bob Dylan sing?
Yeah.
Okay, so he can hit every note he needs to, but he's no Mariah Carey. Like he's no Michael Bublé. Michael Bublé has this honey sound to his voice.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas Bob Dylan, he can hit every note, but it just sounds rough. It sounds, I guess, to us a bit redneck or bogan or...
Is it the timbre?
That's the difference. Okay. You can learn to get your ear perfectly in tune. Unless you're tone deaf, and then you're fucked.
I don't think I don't think to me it's the comedy equivalent of, I reckon you can teach someone, and I have, and I know you guys probably have as well. You can teach someone how to write a joke. Yep. You can teach someone performance technique, but there is something that you can't teach.
Oh my God. And how many people have we seen? How many people have we seen who want it so badly? And it's the timing, it's the relaxed kind of vibe. It's there's just something.
For want of a better term, the X factor. Some people have it and some people don't. And some of you can work your ass off and work but the difference of those people who are exceptionally gifted as well as hard workers, they're like the, that's the Barbara Streisand.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
So
you played fucking night.
So I was singing one of my regular gigs. I sang every Friday night at the Irish pub at the Star in the casino in Sydney.
Fabulous.
Had a group, because with friends you can get them to come to things very rarely. If it's not, I was living in Manly at the time, 40-minute drive, but I had this one night, I was like, you're all, can you all come? Everyone just for this one night said we're all coming, and I really liked this guy, and he came, and I had all this amazing, and sometimes your voice is just right on and everything happens, and it was just perfect performance. Wow. And it was a perfect night. And then because I was driving, because I had all my equipment in the city, I was like, I want to have a drink. Why don't we all go back to my place? And everyone said, let's go to Manly. Let's all go back to your place. And we bunkered down. This is early 2000s, so all the windows were closed, because my grandmother she owned the apartment she lived up above, and so we closed all the windows so she couldn't hear us, and we put the music on, and we were all smoking cigarettes, drinking a cask wine, and all my friends were kind of performers, like acting school, or all that kind of thing. So everyone did their own. They all did their own performances for us.
Fabulous.
And it was just this loving of, and the guy I liked, I got to kiss him that night. And it was just this perfect night that I can't fault. It was just beautiful. I still, God, it was like that youthful perfectness. So as simple as it was my perfect night, best night ever.
Of course, a lot of people watching want to hear you sing, of course, in the comments. So if you're comfortable at any point, that would be great.
Every time anyone asks me to sing, I don't actually care. What'd you say?
I thought you were singing then, just when you went, oh my God. I don't know much.
Every time anyone asks me to sing, I actually don't have a problem busting out anything, but I can never, ever, for the life of me, think of something to sing easily.
Yeah.
Like
But I know I love.
What did you sing in the Irish pub? What was on your list of songs? What was the big winner in the Irish pub at Star City?
I used to do a lot of old. Back then, it was a lot of covers of bad '90s music and early like Nelly Furtado. I'll sing you a song. I'll sing you a nice.
I'm Like a Bird, babe.
Yeah, well, I used to do that, but I don't think I ever did it very well though. Because anyway, I'll sing you a nice little jazz ditty, but I'll only do a little bit, so it doesn't go on too long.
Do you need a beat,
no,
babe? I'm sure she doesn't. No.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Nelly, stop. Don't do that. No, I'm joking. Okay. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies. Do I see blue birds singing their songs? Nothing but blue birds. From now on, never having. Oh fuck! I forget the words.
Oh,
that was amazing.
Oh wait, I've got it. Never saw the sun shining so bright. So many things, making it up because I do forget the words. My blue skies. Fuck, sorry. I'm so bad.
It's fine.
well
done. It was wonderful.
Oh, my Lord. Girl can sing.
Yeah,
well done.
It's a gift. And you know what you were saying? It is such a gift that you either really, really have it, and it's incredible how and it's it's so contested, this, but it's such a culture, not cultural, because I think there is only one race in the world, and that's the human race. I really hate that there's an African race and there's an English race and there's Chinese and all that kind of thing. But there just seems to be so much musicality coming from the African culture. Is it I don't know. I just think that's a gift that they seem to have gotten in abundance.
It's definitely culturally taken more seriously. If I could put it like that. There's so many cultures in which you're going to be born into song, quite literally.
Yeah, and also I think in our Anglo cultures, it can be kind of shamed out of us at a younger age, where we're sort of taught not to sing and dance at a certain age. It's embarrassing, whereas in some other cultures and African cultures, it's like, no, we do it while we work. We do it all the time. We do it as a family celebration. Waleed, for example, has shown me in Egyptian culture what people do just at family gatherings, some clapping and some really musical kind of stuff that's just really basic, average shit that all the cousins do at dinner. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. That's really fun and really musical. And we just would never do anything that noisy,
Like loose, Michelle. In our families, if you started singing, you might dance and then you might have sex. And that
right.
Not acceptable.
Well,
That is not acceptable.
On Netflix. Have you heard of this new TV show?
I watched that. I binged it. Yeah, it was amazing.
Did you watch the making of as well?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I've always had a really weird fascination with Judaism, simply because I was absolutely in love with Barbara Streisand. As soon as I found out she was a Jew as a child, I was like, what is a Jew? What is this?
Yeah.
Find out as much as I could. But this particular show is so good. But you know how they don't allow the women to sing?
Yeah, that powerful moment when she said she was meeting her husband to be, and they were trying to get to know each other, and she said to him, well, do you like music? And he said, oh yes, my family and I perform sometimes together, my father and my brother, and maybe you could, or he said something, or do you? And she said, do you mean, do I perform? And he laughed and he went, of course not. And she was crushed,
And that last episode where she sang.
Yes.
He was so emotional. But anyway, you have to watch it if you haven't watched it.
It's so good.
Can I tell you my favourite story about Judaism? So when I grew up in a little town called Meriden, as we discussed last week, which is about halfway between Perth and Kalgoorlie. So very sheltered, very monocultural. Just like first person in my family to go to uni, trot down to Perth at 17. I'm like, oh my God, like there's people with mohawks. Get to the bus. There's all this stuff. Anyway, one of the first people I met was a Jewish guy, and we were chatting for a while, and I had no idea what that even meant. And we were chatting for a while, and he said to me, oh, so you come from like a pretty conservative town. Are you anti-Semitic? And I went, no, I'm Anglican. It had not even occurred to me that you would not like someone because of your religion. Like it's just like what a bizarre concept.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a whole world that I could talk about for hours on end, and that kind of thing. But I go down quite a deep hole as far as Judaism goes, and there's this other show, this Israeli show that's on Netflix called Steimel, which is about the Steimel family and it's just a normal show. But the girl that's in Unorthodox is in this one as well. And
okay.
This Hasidic the Hasidic Judaism, that the ones with the curls and the hats and the the alfoil in their kitchen and all this. I just think it's so fascinating, and we live in this world where, like so many religions, it is so against women. Like it is just so against women.
But you know what? And not just women. I mean, like I learned a lot from Manny Wax, who was a guy who grew up here in Melbourne, and he was sexually molested at school. And so he had a really hard time then when he spoke out about it because because the school didn't want to admit it and didn't want to talk about it. Same as the girls who Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox Jewish school.
Right.
Yeah, and so we've had these great conversations with him where it's like, well, I realizing that we lived near each other in St Kilda at the time, and I'd say, well, I remember seeing the kids walk to school, and I thought we were living in the same community. And he was like, we did not think that. We did not think we were in the same community as you guys at all. And it's really fascinating. Yeah.
Worlds apart.
Well, it's like the Orthodox version of any religion, isn't it? I mean, it's like that, whatever the tenets of that religion are on steroids, basically.
Yeah.
Very
separate. They have stopped TV, internet, phones, anything. Like they have a world that you can bring children up in and not have a clue with what's going on right next door to them.
I say
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, the Unorthodox, the show on Netflix, is set in Williamsburg, in Brooklyn. And I mean, I remember Heath Ledger lived in Williamsburg. One of the first Toby's estate, because I used to work for Toby, the first one that was set up in America was in Williamsburg. And that was the Williamsburg I knew of. This, Hasidic Jew world that lives there. And then you get this inside look to it. It's I questioned what year it was made, set in. But
the great thing about the show, though, is that it also demonstrates that her husband is equally trapped and he is equally a victim of this setup. And that's not him either. It's, he doesn't.
Oh, rigid gender roles don't serve anyone, Dale, but that's for another day.
No, Joel, but it's a good recommendation for lockdown. It's a bloody good binge.
And it's a nice, easy 4 episodes plus
great binge,
which you must include.
Great.
It's
I'll do it.
I highly recommend. It's fascinating. It's true. It's a true story. And it's all.
And I love stuff. Lady Laurie, what was your best night?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard, honestly.
Is it tonight?
Too many. Yeah.
Is it right now?
Right now. Said like a true prostitute.
Are you lying to us? Oh my God.
No, I'm just
had. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm laughing because Hughesy's, the guy that Hughesy's on air with, Ed, he sprung me and it was a complete accident. Ed went, as you do when you're on radio. Radio people are such assholes. He went back and checked my Instagram and he sprung me for telling Hughesy the kittens were younger than they actually are, which was a complete accident.
Was it?
And I said, of course. And I said, that's my brothel receptionist coming back out at me for saying that they were. Younger.
Is everyone 25?
Right, everyone's 29 and some months.
29 and some months, right?
Yeah.
And how do we describe a lady on the larger side?
Oh, curvaceous, busty. You just go with the tits, busty lady.
Yeah,
but you know what?
busty,
Actually,
curvy.
that's really reminded. It's reminded me that the person who told me 29 and some months was a transsexual lady called Cherie, who was at the time in her 60s when she told me that she wanted me to say on the phone that she was 29 and some months.
How
and
old did she look?
In her 60s. But beautiful. She looked like a Turak 60. I mean, she looked beautiful. And she was she was so mean. Everyone was so scared of Cherie, and you really had to earn your respect from Cherie, and she was infamous for it. And she would swear like a trooper, and she just, vicious. She called me fatty, get up the fucking apples and pears, you fat cunt, get me the fucking, she was just, right. But in that way that made
that.
But babe, in that way, trust me, in that way that made her somehow magical and somehow made you want her to love you. And anyway, and I did love her, and we did grow to become very close, Cherie and I. And she was a big drinker. She was a famous drinker, and she used to drink on Fitzroy Street in St Kilda. And very famous in St Kilda. And so I reckon some of my best nights were spent in that brothel in Port Melbourne when it was quiet, and those girls would just do things to entertain themselves and me. Like they'd reenact scenes from Prisoner.
Hello.
Freak and be.
Or they do my makeup. Yeah, or they do my makeup. Like I was sort of in my mid-20s at that stage, so they do my makeup. They teach me makeup.
Yeah.
I love this.
It was amazing. It was, and a lot of them are older girls, and they had been in the original Lay Girls in King's Cross in the 60s and the 70s. And
so 29 many months.
29 and that's what we'd joke when they go 29 and some months, like 30 months or something. But they were just,
and go, I thought she was 29.
Well, they would not have the guts, because they taught me to be so tough on reception, Yeah. And they were just such special nights. I'd be there from 7 p.m. until 4 a.m. and night shift. And they were, and most of the girls were that vintage, and they were just so beautiful and smart and funny, and they just taught me so much.
Yeah, so much street smarts.
And they taught, and in those days they used the terminology like tranny. They called themselves trannies, and they taught me that like they had no formal education because they were bullied so bad at school they could never go. So they never finished school, even year 10, So all of their knowledge was just picked up, self-taught, and I watch RuPaul's Drag Race now, and I just think, pathetic. They don't even make their own costumes, girl. They don't do their own hair. They don't do their own wigs. What the fuck? Like the girls I knew, they had to do their own, and they used to say to me, because we have no money, of course we have to learn to sew. We have to learn to do our own wigs.
But it's a completely different thing. But I feel exactly the same when I see people doing like, which is much more common now in comedy, where you've got like a Netflix special comedy stand-up show or something. Try standing on a milk crate with a bloody megaphone and entertaining a couple hundred people.
Well, you know what it is? You know what it is to me, Nellie? It's comedians today who don't write their own jokes. And that to me, that is just like these, drag queens who can't knock up their own frocks and can't do their own wigs. I'm like,
I said pet, I said love, I said sweetheart, I said doll, write your own shit.
Babe, that's the actual art form. And
that's
if you're not,
that's all it is.
That's all it is.
Actually have a lot of people say to me, "Oh, your comic timing's really great. Have you thought of stand-up comedy?" And I'm like, I did stand-up comedy once and retired that night because it went so well. But I did have a room full of friends, so they were like, "Oh, you're so."
Oh no,
funny,"
friends
like,
are harder though.
Look
Friends
how
are
smart you are. Look how smart you are, though.
But I think I can't write. I can't write well enough.
Nah,
to
I could
get
teach you
to
to
the
write.
caliber where I want to watch my stand-up. You know,
Nah.
but
I'm not having that. That's what that is. I'm not having it because I can teach you to write. That's one thing you can learn.
Please
You can't
do
teach
then.
the X factor, I reckon. I don't know Michelle's view, but you can't teach the charisma, which you obviously clearly have, but you can learn to write.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think there's a lot of laziness in having other
maybe I'm
people
just a
write your
lazy
jokes.
cunt.
No,
Yeah,
look, I don't think.
That's the truth, actually. It actually wasn't a question; it was a statement. I am a lazy cunt.
Well, on that note, I'm going to tell you about my favourite night.
Yes.
I'm
I'm just going to get another wine, but I'm
Go.
listening and.
Go.
You go. You carry that dog over there.
Recognise the photo, Lady Laurie. Or
Yeah.
did anyone watching recognise the photo from Facebook that I put on where my favourite night was?
No, I didn't even see it. God, I've had such a mental couple of days. Can you show us?
I don't know how to do that.
Have you got it? I'll find it on my phone and I'll hold it up.
Yeah,
hang on.
It's fine. So anyway, it is actually from relatively recent times. And exactly what you said, Yvie, when I was thinking about the question, I thought, this is going to be really complicated and hard to pick. And then I thought, no, it's not. This one night came straight to my head. So go with that one. I know I meant to say like the first time I met my partner or when I had children. No, it's none of those. We went about a bit more than a year ago to Tokyo. And the reason this was like momentous was because it's the first time we had travelled. There it is. That is Tokyo. Right?
Wow. That's a good pick of you.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, what happened in Tokyo?
What happened in Tokyo? So that was Christmas Eve of 2018. And the reason it was momentous is because it's the first time we'd travelled after my oldest daughter had been ill with chronic fatigue syndrome, or MECFS, as some people will know it, and our youngest daughter had been diagnosed with autism. So the first time we had travelled going, actually, this is going to be different. And it's a bit like facing COVID-19 in a way. It's like we had to have that shock of going, no, you can't go and see every monument, and you can't go to different cities, and you cannot travel the way that you're used to. It doesn't matter that you've saved up the money and you're really excited and you've been planning this for years. You can't actually do it. So adjust your expectations. Yeah, just face the reality. And so the thing for me, I can do that. We basically plan to do one thing every 2 days. So we went for 10 days. We can do 5 things.
And that sounds like heaven to me.
Yeah, me too.
Sounds like 5 things to me. Like normally I'm whizzing around. So, but for me, that's hard.
Just note to self, never travel with Nelly.
Yeah, me too.
That's right. Well, you can now. Because I'm
going to travel with Michelle anytime.
Yeah, let's lie down for a while.
Let's just say, I'm the opposite. If I'm going on a holiday, that's different. Like I'll go to Bali and lay down for 10 days.
Yes.
And drink it from 10 in the morning.
See, I want to go to Tokyo so badly, but I just think I'm too tired.
No. So I'm going to tell you how to do it, because let's just assume that you're going with my family and you have to do it the based way. So I said, all right, if we're not going to spend all this money going and seeing everything that's there, what we're going to do is spend a lot of money on 3 nights in the Park Hyatt, which is where Lost in Translation was filmed. So I'm like, I can miss out on seeing the shrine and the bloody blossoms and the whole thing, but I'm drinking that bar.
Yes.
That's my thing. So I had one night, we stayed there for 3 nights, put the kids on their iPads in bed in this beautiful room, went up to the 52nd floor, which is the one you can see in the photo, went into this bar, beautiful jazz singer, Christmas Eve,
Like in the movie.
Big Christmas tree, exactly like the movie. Walk in there, there's a bit of a, no one stops me from doing the clicking there, let me tell you. Walk in there, get a table by the window, girlfriend. The lovely waiter comes over. He says, what can I do for you? I said, can I please have a gin and tonic? Whatever your best gin is. Can I please have 3 entrees? You can choose them, like whatever you think's the best.
Great holiday.
Yeah. And I said to him, does anyone on your staff smoke? Because I would really like 1 cigarette. He said,
just one.
Come back. Off he goes. He comes back with a G&T the size of Tokyo Tower, 3 entrees, and a pack of cigarettes. And I'm thinking to go outside, go downstairs. He says, oh, no, you're most welcome to smoke in the bar. I'm like, this is the best night of my life.
Yeah, Japan.
Oh, my God.
So fun.
I changed mine. That's the best night of my life. Now.
Yeah.
Do you want to travel with me?
That's the best. Like, honestly, there's good food, good drink, good singing. Really lovely. And that's the one thing I really want to get to Japan for, because everyone I know that goes there says they are the most accommodating, sweet, generous people.
Everyone comes home obsessed with Japan. Yeah.
It was, even with all the restrictions, like honestly, there were a lot of restrictions. Like we made decisions to do things like we went to Tokyo Disney and it cost a fortune and all the rest of it, knowing that we could go for 90 minutes. But we made the decision to go, you know what, we're still going to go. We're not going to going.
Cancel it. Yeah, good on you.
And it was still great.
Do you know,
sorry.
You go, Yvie, you go.
I was just thinking, I watched for the first time only like 2 years ago my very first pantomime. I've never seen a pantomime before. And
cute.
They're huge in the UK, but Bonnie Lithgow's brought them here. So
I love Bonnie.
A lot of great Aussies that are, being in them now. And I saw my first one because Melissa Couts was in it. Melissa Couts is in the same agency as Angie. So we were invited along for the opening night, and I was just like, whatever. If there's free will, I'll be there. Yeah. Well, I had no idea how great they were. I was just like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Like, and the panto people were like, did you like it? And I was like, oh my God, I want to be this. And I went, do you? Because we will totally put you in a panto. I will.
And plus, I reckon Bonnie would be great to work for. I think Bonnie Lithgow is the most beautiful lady.
She's lovely. Every time I've met her, she's been lovely. But they have that particular Panto Oz or Oz Panto or whatever they're called. And I know that they're the same people in the UK. They call it a quiet performance. Every season they have a quiet performance.
Yeah,
so they take all the lights and all the loudness out for
sensory
spectrum
stuff,
audience.
Yeah.
And they do this 1 or 2 performances where that's the one you can take your kids to or whoever, that they're going to not be overwhelmed by.
Yes.
More of that.
Don't care, even if hopefully anyone who'd be watching would care about the politics and the ethics of it. But even if you don't, I would say the same thing with Auslan. Like, if you're a performer and you're not doing a sensory-friendly performance and an Auslan performance, you're a fucking idiot, because they're going to sell out.
Yeah.
Just on a basic economic level, there is a market there that is not catered to.
Was Adam Hills the first person to do those in comedy? He's the first person I remember. Was he first, Nelly?
Auslan.
Hey?
Auslan or sensory?
Auslan.
No, I don't think so. I think that well, it depends. Probably at his level, yes.
Yeah, okay.
There's always been, people doing them here and there, but probably at his level in those big 1,000-seat theatres, yes.
Okay, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, and it's a really good thing to do. I mean, it sounds like it's such a dumb thing to say, but it's such a good thing.
But it's good for everyone. Like, any gig that I've ever done with an Auslan interpreter, for example, has added a whole other element of fun. Like, even on that sort of basic stupid level of watching how they sign swear words. I mean,
yes. Just see that guy who was all over Facebook the other day who was signing, was a long way to the top. Amazing.
dynamite. But I also loved how he was like showing the vibe of the thing.
I love watching the Auslan men and women who are always off screen of all our press conferences. They're just so animated. I'm like, I feel you, girl. Like, I see how I'm that kind of a talker too. Like I really talk to people about things, and I love that. I've always thought about sign language. Wouldn't it be even this comes from me as a child who was the most precocious questioner of everything. And like that kid that would constantly get sent out. It was like, Yvette, get out. You're just annoying. You're just annoying with questions. Like, I don't know, so get out. And one of
that's telling. I don't know, so get out. That's very telling.
Well, isn't it though? And that's my biggest memory is of.
How about I don't know? I'll find out.
I don't know, so get out.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things when we were, I had a friend who had a deaf brother, so she would come and teach us, which I didn't know it was Auslan. I just thought it was just sign language. And I thought the sign language was so wonderful because that meant I could go anywhere in the world if I knew sign language.
Yeah.
And I could talk to anyone in the world if they spoke Italian or Spanish or French, whatever. But it's not true. Like, they have all these languages.
Yeah.
But why don't we have one? It's the same reason we don't have one language.
Yeah. No, I remember
wouldn't it be wonderful we had a universal
wasn't it when Mandela died and they got some like sign language guy that no one had bloody vetted or checked, just like, he knows what he's doing. Who like
I watched that over and over and over. I just thought that was the funniest,
probably the most important person to die in the 20th century, like, or 21st century. I can't think of a more significant death, and there's someone like making it up.
I kind of love his moxie, though. I mean, I kind of dig it.
Something with you, because Michelle and I were talking about something we talked about with you that we sort of glossed over a little bit, and I wanted to come back to was the fact that you, like many people, are in the situation where your income for the year just like vanished.
Yeah. Last time we spoke to you, you were just signed up with Centrelink. Yeah.
I still haven't received anything.
And today I was listening to the ABC and people were ringing up saying I got through on the phone and they gave me a code and I had to put it into the MyGov website and it didn't work. So then I had to go back to the phone and no one's answering. So where are you at with that? Welcome to MyGov.
One of my best friends rang me today and she said, I've just lost my job. And I was like, I'm so sorry, which just seems, normally you'd be like, what?
Yeah,
I know.
I'm so sorry. She works in recruitment and she's worked in this company for 8 years. The administrators have come in this week, all of that stuff. And I said to her, do you need help with Centrelink? Because that's where I can come in. That's my forte. I've been on the dole many a time. I had the good thing about the Centrelink this time was that I had my my customer reference number already. I had all these things. Like when I got an email that said we're processing, and I knew exactly what that meant, and I knew not to call them and wait in line for 4 hours. And I know that what's going to happen, the whole process. So I'm still in that it will come. I know that there will be a backloading, back pay.
You'll get a lump sum. But have you done your work moving forward? Like, what's your next? Because I got offered a booking in October, and I'm kind of in retirement anyway, so it was easy to say no. But I thought to myself, geez, I wonder, would I take that gig? Thinking, it'll probably be over by then. I don't know.
Well, the government just didn't the press conference or something, the last press conference today or whatever it was last night, saying we could be in this for the next 18 months.
You might
at least
that far ahead now. Not in this level of lockdown, I don't think. I think they're saying that the whole kind of, if I can put it this way, the situation will not be like resolved in the same way. I mean, if we try and take the drama out of it, the flu's not.
I love.
Sorry. Hello.
Hello. Wasn't it?
That was dramatic. But I don't think anyone. is suggesting that we'll be in this level of lockdown or difficulty for that long. But I think they're trying to now start to lay the foundation to say, people, you know what, this is a bit like the flu. Like, it's not just going to suddenly magically be cured. People are going to get sick from it. They are going to die from it.
Yeah.
At some point, you know, probably forever even. But in our lifetime, certainly. But at some point there'll be a vaccine, or we'll know how to treat it better. And that's not likely to be that far away.
Flattening the curve is all about getting the hospitals ready, more
well, trying to make sure that there's enough beds and enough ventilators and all that kind of stuff, so we don't all arrive at once, I guess.
At once, they haven't got enough, and then they've got to go, oh, does Yvie need to be kept alive, or does Nellie?
Yeah.
Or
don't even.
Pick Nellie. She has children.
Yeah.
But the problem is, in Italy, they're like, oh, we'll keep both Yvie and Nellie, but that old lady over there can.
That's right. And that's exactly right.
It's horrible.
So we're going to go down a dark hole, and I don't want to depress myself.
Listen, what is your fear of darkness at the moment, dude? You are like
furious. I feel like I'm imagining one of my lovely friends, Nikki. Hello, Nikki, who's watching from rural Victoria, who I met at a gig once, and I've remained friends with.
Okay.
Nikki is a metaphor for lots of people watching going, I've had enough shit this week, mate.
Mm-hmm.
I've had enough shit.
I get that. I can't watch
it. It has to be completely avoided, but just Friday night drinks, can we just try?
Yes.
Having fun.
The girl that's living with me, the woman that's living with me at the moment, a good friend of mine, Tasha, who's stuck here. New Zealander. So she watches Jacinda's press conferences every day, and she goes live. Fucking, I mean, this is how you govern. This is how you human.
But this is how you communicate.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So it's interesting. I watch her watching it. She writes notes, God bless her. And I go, why are you writing notes? She goes, I don't know. And I was like, it's just calming you. She goes, yep, that's the only. I said, well, then that's good enough for me. Yeah. But she goes from Jacinda's press conference to ScoMo's press conference, and I'm like, I can't watch any more press. Like, just give me your notes when it's done.
Okay. Maybe the problem for me is that I don't watch any of those things, and I'm just trapped here with children, and I just would give anything to talk to some adults and to be able to just chat. I mean, my mother
call me anytime. There's nothing about adults in this house.
You're right. I should, because what happens here is that my mother arrives in my fucking hallway every morning, and she tells me what Ray Hadley has just said on her radio, and I'm like,
all of that,
right? And then
when my grandmother was alive, she used to tell me what. Who's the golden Mike? Look.
Oh, John Laws. That's who she was into before. You're right.
Yeah, my grandmother would tell me what John said every night, and it had to be like, it was like telling me the news. Yeah. I was like, that's not true. It's not
true. It's just not. Well, this morning, Ray Hadley was saying, look, the problem with the bailouts that the government's, giving everybody is it's just going to fund Extinction Rebellion. So he's angry that all the vegans are going to get fucking money. I'm like, oh. My God,
the vegans are saying, if dude didn't need a bat.
Oh my God.
Can I just say, I am quite political. I love following politics. I am very left. I'm quite green, but I am so impressed with how our government has stepped up to.
Oh.
I honestly am looking at our capitalist government not being bailed out by socialism again, but being like every decade or every 15 years, socialism has to come in to the capitalist way of life and sort shit out.
It's a moment of community between unions, government, left-wing, right-wing government, unions, left-wing opposition. Like, it's such a rare moment of community, and it takes this
to see, isn't it?
idiot to get on the radio and tell his listeners who are old people, oh, yeah, but don't forget the vegans are going to get some just because they got to be angry about something.
And I have to say, I mean, now I'm going to be the buzzkill. But let's say this passes, let's give it 6 months. Let's say in September the worst is over and it's okay. What's happening after that to people who are seeking work, people with disabilities?
Of course, yeah.
Then I'll go, well done, ScoMo. Because if this goes back to how it was before, then I will not be happy, Jan. And neither will you.
No,
I get that. But I'm just a bit nervous.
No, absolutely. I'm probably being an optimist at the moment, but I'm really hoping that the right-wing government and right-wing voters will see what it's like to really be on benefits, to see that it's not it's not something that you choose to do because it's easy and all these dole bludgers are, living the life. It's like no one chooses to be on benefits because you can't live on benefits.
Yeah.
The fact that they've doubled the benefits, it's like you have no idea how much
and they're still saying
normal people.
Yeah. It's a nightmare. It's so funny during the week. I posted that in February they were still closing Centrelink offices. And people were commenting and saying, oh, well, that story's a month old. And I said, mate, everyone in the world knew what was coming a month ago. So don't tell me ScoMo is doing his best and he's a genius. And they were like, no, but that was a month ago. We
honestly, every single time I hear the head of Centrelink or the Human Services Minister, plural ministers talking. Doesn't matter how many people like me ring in and go, oh, yeah, so I sat on MyGov for 3.5 hours trying to get the $60 a week carers payment and I just couldn't work it out and I gave up crying. And they go, oh, no, you just ring the number.
Oh, yeah, you just ring the number.
How many times we've been trying to tell you. I hope, Yvie, that you're right. And in fact,
and you know what?
Probably change it. But I suspect not, honestly, because I reckon what will happen after is that people will go, see, we spent so much money. Look at the deficit that we've got. We have to go back. Everyone's got to tighten their belts. Everyone's got to take a haircut. It'll just be poor people taking a haircut.
At least their days on hold are their punishment for their shit voting patterns. At least they can sit on hold.
Maybe this is the pendulum that we...
I hope you're right. I really
have the right and we have the left to... Because neither is right. I mean, I'm so left that I'm constantly being reminded by people that's not, you couldn't live like that. Like you couldn't live in a, what is it, a banana society?
Banana Republic, babes. Banana Republic.
Can I argue going, why not?
Take this moment if we all take this moment to go back to the idea that even if you believe in capitalism and whatever, I'm not going to debate you, but even if you believe that's the right system, that you need a safety net and that we have made the safety net a fucking noose and that safety net needs to be repaired. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I hope your optimism's founded and that more of us see that the safety net is there for a reason.
Can I just say, go back to right at the beginning of this when I said that it's like giving birth or being white privilege. When you're hungover or have a flu, you will never ever take for granted ever again being healthy.
Yeah, but you do.
My optimism, I think, is really thinly veiled behind the truth. The reality is that we live in such a lucky country that we don't know what it's like to go through war or famine or
but
real.
You know what? I have to think that the truth is somewhere in between. I think
in the middle.
I think a lot of people will remember. I think a lot of people had no idea. I think surely
do you think the children will make a difference? Like that sounds like such a Whitney Houston song, but I believe the children are our future. I teach them well, and you let them lead the way. Really.
Of course.
We don't know. We don't know. It's definitely a massive.
Can I tell you, this is the first time my children have ever known the word no, and I think that's really very good for them. I mean, these are children who've flown to Bali once a year, since they were born. These are children who've had everything they've ever asked for, and I think it's so good for them, and I think it's changing their lives in a really great way. It's the first time in their lives I've had to say to them, you know what, I haven't been paid yet, and I don't know if I'm going to be, because people aren't paying their invoices at the moment, guys, and this is why. People are really holding on to their money at the moment because they don't know if they're going to get paid.
Yeah.
And so
are you explaining it to them?
Yeah, because they're 10.
Know the truth?
They're 10, so they're old enough to be able to grasp that. They're not frightened, but I'm able to say to them, I can say to them, we're not going to lose our house or whatever, but this is why you can't have everything you want anymore. Our world has changed. We can't just have everything we want anymore. Our world has changed. The world has changed.
Yeah.
So I do think that they will.
I'm getting that, mind you, but you are resisting that. But I think it's really interesting looking at it through the eyes of my 12-year-old. So I'm
fascinated by the children, how they see all this.
She's had chronic illness for nearly 4 years. And so it's been really interesting watching her friends who've been in lockdown for 5 days?
Yeah.
Using their minds.
Yeah.
And she's not, I mean, in no way is she doing that, ha, 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 told you so. But it's a really interesting moment of for them to develop a bit more empathy and understand that she's been going through this for years.
Wow.
That people with chronic illness live this kind of isolation and the uncertainty, because that's where COVID-19, I think, is similar to a condition like chronic fatigue or MS or a range of chronic illnesses. So I don't know when I'll be sick. I don't know when I'll be better. People tell me different things. I get different, and that does your head in. So for her, in a way, it's like an opportunity for the people in her life to have a bit of taste of what she's gone through. Not that you'd wish it.
Yeah, no.
But you go, oh, okay, now you see why this has been so hard.
It's just about education and a little bit of relating.
Yeah, it's a really interesting education in basic economics as well, because my son Louis is obsessed with Roblox, which is this computer game, right? And it has Robux. It's so boring, Yvie. It's gross. But you're constantly paying money into this shit game for them to buy
something on YouTube. Have you seen this YouTuber? This
one?
My God. Oh, somebody kill me.
They're buying things that don't exist, Yvie. They're buying fucking wings to put on their fake characters that don't exist. Anyway, point is, I said to him,
I said, Minecraft?
Oh, it's a similar. But I said to him, I said, Louis, what's going to happen is Robux are going to get cheaper because everyone's parents are running out of money in the whole world. Everyone's parents are going to stop giving their kids Robux to shut them up really quickly. And so you're going to find that everything suddenly is going to get really cheap on Robux. Yeah. And he said to me a week ago, he goes,
stock market.
Right. It's this kiddie stock market. And he said to me a week ago, he's going, oh, my God, you're right. Oh, my God, because that's how he talks. He talks like he's on the drive-through at McDonald's.
I'm Jam.
Knuckles. You want fries?
I remember my niece saying river when she was about 3. I was like, what? She goes, on the river. I was like,
on the river.
And my mother goes, she watches Dora the Explorer. And I was like, okay, enough said.
Yeah, remember that. Louis says, oh my God, I've got tea. Louis says, I've got Roblox tea. Meaning I've got gossip.
Gossip.
No. So Roblox tea is that Robux are getting fucking cheaper thanks to COVID.
Yeah, and that is what do you call it? Inversely proportional to the cost of hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
I was on the bloody interwebs today trying to find some hand sanitizer. Can I say community service announcement? Don't list it if you haven't got it, because I don't want to get through to the fucking basket and check out, and then
But Nelly, I know my local chemist is making their own in South Melbourne. Do you want me to get you some?
What out of?
Yes, please.
I'm just stealing it. I'm not even paying for it. I'm just taking it and popping it in my boobs. I'm out of here.
Going straight.
No,
you're going straight to the communist.
70% alcohol.
Yeah.
Fucking, 20% cum. I don't know what.
Right.
But
Right. So I can drink it with Coke. Right.
Oh my God. Just when you
Careful,
said that, Coke and alcohol took me back to another amazing night that I was considering putting into my good night. See, I don't like dark spirits, but I had a crush on someone who did. So, of course, I drank them because I was 15 and that's what you do. Went to a B&S ball, mate. A B&S ball in
Never been to one.
Oh, mate.
Rapist balls.
Philip Curtis, I love you, sweetheart.
Rapist fields, I call them.
Never been to one.
Let's get raped in a field.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Please, go on.
It's not pretty. Look, it didn't end up being one of the best nights of my life, but it was one of those ones where I thought it would be.
Sure.
Yo.
I thought I did end up pashing on with someone, but then he drove through the drive-through I was working on at Chicken Treat the next day. It was very awkward.
Treat?
Oh, yeah, mate, I was the big rooster. Yeah, I dressed in a rooster suit, entertained the kids at the birthday parties.
Because Perth loves chicken like nowhere else on earth. I mean, I've never seen more chicken.
Oh, no, there's only one other place that loves chicken more is Newcastle in New South Wales. They have Henny Penny. They have Red Rooster. And they chocolate chicken,
everything.
That's where chickens go to die.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah, we were Big Rooster and then we got bought out by Chicken Treat. But I was the Big Rooster.
Okay.
Like, literally.
What about in Toowoomba, where I grew up? They opened a new chicken restaurant. I think it was called Ripper Rooster, but they couldn't find Ripper Rooster, and they couldn't
liquor.
Ripper Rooster, and they wanted to put a big inflatable on the roof, but they couldn't find anything chicken related, so they put a big gorilla on the roof.
Same. It's an animal.
Exactly.
It's your ancestors.
You can't eat it. So.
Tastes like chicken, I guess. Yeah.
I have a feeling that we're well and truly off the rails and are probably not going to return to them. Can I call for last drinks, last words, starting with... Oh, Yvie, side note while you're thinking. So one of my favourite things is to set people up. So as soon as we talked to Yvie last week, I was like, I know someone. Turns out wasn't the best idea, shall I say, in that he's married. I did not know.
I just did Zoom drinks with my friends tonight at 5 p.m. We do Friday night 5 p.m. drinks. We've only done it twice because, Corona. And they're like, what's happening with the cop? And I went, who? And they went,
the cop.
Didn't Nellie Thomas say that she was going to set you up with a guy with PTSD? And I'm like, I don't know what happened to that.
Yvie, I was so drunk by the end of our conversation last week. I don't remember so much of what you're both talking about.
No, it wasn't in there. No, this guy.
But I know we did one like comedy workshop.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite part of all of this is that Michelle was like, I was so hammered. I don't remember. Like, it didn't take place.
What's your last thoughts, Lady Laurie?
Just more to it, more kittens, more everything.
Yes.
No, actually, my thought is I really want to plan a holiday for next year. Do you think I can? Do you think I should?
Absolutely.
Can we please holiday together?
Right. I believe I've already floated this idea, Michelle Laurie.
Yes, all I want to do is think about, I want to lie by a pool. I want to watch the kids in the pool. I want to order them chips by the pool,
Absolutely.
Do you know Celeste Barber?
Yes.
Comedian. Well, her husband, Arpy, him and I were best friends from high school. So we've known each other for a very long time. And one of the best holidays I've ever been on was last year when I lost my dog, one of my Pomeranians, and Arpy and Celeste were in Bali, and I was between filming, you get a week off between Gogglebox, the test run and then the real thing.
Wow.
And and that's when they send you most of the money. So it's just like, I had all this money in my account, and I was like, I lost my dog. And they're like, just fucking come to Bali. And I was like, I'm coming to Bali. And their kids were there, and we stayed in this amazing resort that's run by this Australian guy that fucking drinks like a camel.
They all do.
I was like, this is the best. Like, I never thought I could go on a holiday with other people's kids, but I can.
Oh, yeah, kids are fun. Yeah.
So, I mean,
totally. No,
you just need a pool noodle, bub. You just need a few noodles in the pool, and you're right to go.
Pool noodles. Well, I use more pool noodles than the kids.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I kept going, por favor, and they're like, we're not in Spain, but
no.
we'll bring you a porn star martini.
Oh my God, now I have to tell you my favourite Bali story, which is a quick one. But I went on my first
Let's never leave this.
Never. I went on my first ever mumcation. So I went away without the kids for the first time ever last year because I was losing my shit.
Where did you go, Bali?
Bali, because I thought I've been many times. I know it. I don't want to go and see any fucking cultural
institutions. Go with friends?
I went by myself.
Just want Bali so bad.
It was. I cried all the way in the airport. Like cried and cried and cried. But when I woke up the next day, I was perfectly fine. By the end of it, I'm sitting there by the pool, which is where I basically spent the entire time. And this lovely Padma resort in Legian. So just like, again, don't want to do anything. I just want a pool. I want cocktails. I want room service. And this lovely Balinese guy comes up to me, and he'd been watching me every day, and he's like, Miss Nelly. He's like, why? What you doing? Because I had my earphones in. And he says, are you listening to music? I said, no. I'm listening to an audio book. And he's like, what is an audio book? And I said, people read a book. And he's like, they talk to you, they read you the book on the phone. And I said, no, it's like it's on the phone, and then you hear the book. And he goes, oh, it's okay, you can't read.
Oh,
no, I can read. I can read. Okay, Miss Nelly. And
sure,
sure
you can.
Of course you can.
Sure you can.
No, Miss Nelly.
The sweet thing is that there's enough of them that don't read to believe there's some of us that can't read.
Totally.
Embarrassed. Like, he was basically worried that I was alone. He's pretty much like, why are you alone by yourself every day? I'm like, because I'm desperate to be alone, mate.
Because I choose to be. It's not a thing. It's not a thing in so many worlds.
No.
One day we'll do a podcast from Padma Resort.
Can I give a last thought? These are the thoughts that have been going through my head in the last couple of nights. I have a girlfriend, my best friend, Annie Potatoes. I won't name her. She is on the apps all the time. We're about the same age. I'm about 4 years older than her. And I refuse to be on the dating apps because they freak me out. And I've never, until this week, because I think Corona and I have a lot of time on my hands, actually had the chance to go, what's your problem? Like, why don't you do dating apps? Why don't you do dating? Like, what's your problem? And why does she keep doing them? We're such similar women. Like, we'd have the similar interests in so many things. I'm like, what is the difference? Is it that she's desperate and I'm not desperate? Well, no, because I'm desperate. I'm just as desperate as the next woman.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I wouldn't know. Like, it's because she doesn't have it. It's because we have brothers. No, well, we both have brothers. And I kept, over the last, say, decade, I've just dissected this in my head, and I've finally come up with not a reason why we do. I think, actually, I have. I think that the reason that do I sound pissed?
No, yes, but keep going. Because I'm desperate to know. Why? Why?
Miss Yvie, I worried for you.
Yeah,
your feet are big as boats. We got nothing here for you. Your feet are big as boats.
You're too fat.
Too fat. You're fat like Buddha.
Yeah. Is it because you can't read?
So, my theory is theory is wine. Okay, no. My theory is that we are taught that we need a partner. That's our programming. Totally our program. From the moment we're born, we are told partner up. It's all about partners. Be a partner. Have a partner. Find your partner. Find your soulmate. Find the one. Find that person that is going to change your world. That's going to complete you.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is something that I constantly have this. I don't think I can find that. I don't think I'm going to find that, and I don't think I want to find that. And yet I've got my best friend who is so similar to me, constantly going on dates. And the other night I thought, why do you want to go out with a straight white male? They are so boring. Like, we don't have one straight white male friend that we just sit and chew the fat with and go, yeah, fucking,
and like, how
periods, how weird are they?
And like, I'm not like, how diminishing are those dates? And I don't know the answer to that question. That's a genuine question. Like, if you're going date, I'm asking, like, are they fun, or are they like, how do you feel about you?
Well, that's the thing is that I'm like, I have just realized why she keeps failing, because when her and I go out, we have the best nights ever. When her and a straight white man go out, and she's just like, I don't know, it's just weird, you know. We didn't really, like, we talked, it was great, and then he didn't want to see me again. And I was like, this connection is lost.
I tell you what, if there was ever, and this is, I have to give speaking of partners, I have to give my partner credit for this, because when just before the lead up for me trying to work out whether or not to give up work, which was a massive protracted decision for me, one thing that he said that I come back to is him saying, we're ripping up the script.
Yes.
And you know what? If coronavirus offers anything, it's the opportunity to rip up the script. And I'm sitting here from the outside, why don't you and your best friend move in together? And
I've actually said that so many times. Let's buy a house together.
Buy a house together, basically have a relationship with each other, and invite men over when you feel like it.
Yeah, so true.
Me personally, I think that men and women, not just men, but men for me, should be quite there for pleasure and having a bit of physicality and everything. But when it comes to connection and really talking to someone, I'm all about female friends and gay male friends.
Babe, can I tell you, I've been married for over 20 years, and my husband is not who I go to for conversation. Right? Okay.
Know your places, people.
So,
know what you can offer. Know what.
Read the room, people. Read the room.
Yeah, right.
Our favourite. Now, you may not know of this woman, Yvie, but I swear to God, if we can work out a way to get 4 people on, we'll get her on with you. Wonderful comedian called Christine Basil. Amazing comedian.
I don't know her.
She's amazing.
Her up.
She did this great joke years ago about her husband. So she's been married to a truck driver for nearly 30 years. She's really hyper. She's really outgoing. He kind of doesn't talk. She used to do this great joke where she goes, you know what? Lindsay's really boring, but I got a car.
It's true.
That joke.
It's true.
It's the simplest joke ever. And I remember that joke I must have heard it 18 years ago.
Right on.
Just like that idea, he's not responsible for my entertainment.
No.
Everything from him.
You know what? My husband's a great dad. He's, he's good at some stuff. Okay? But he doesn't have to be everything, okay?
My favorite conversation ever. I love all of this.
He doesn't have to be
everything that I have with so many of my girlfriends. This is the same conversation.
Over and over. Totally. Yeah, but I actually love the pragmatism and Basil, as we call it, Christine Basil.
Yes.
Good, solid working class woman, Fantastic comedian, underrated, should have been a superstar, but isn't. Just a very pragmatic woman, and I just love the lack of drama in it. Like so many people
tell you my favorite one of Christine's that I think of every day, and she must have told me this 25 years ago. How come the last quarter of the toothpaste tube lasts the same length of time as the first 3 quarters?
True. That's actually genius.
Isn't it?
That's not even a comedian. That's Freud.
You're so careful with that.
Favorite jokes of hers
really
is
smart.
He's not.
Can I tell you?
Let me just say one more of Basil. Yep. One more. Because
it's
one of my favorite jokes of hers. She's not overtly political comedian, but I think she's very political in a kind of just being herself way. And when she's talking about refugees, she goes, "We can't let any more in. We haven't got enough space." You're like, oh my God, I've done hour-long shows to say the same thing.
So good.
I know, right?
Oh,
so good. I remember this joke about this Texas guy. Oh my God, can I get really politically incorrect here?
No, girl.
It is. This Texas guy meets a Valley girl on a work conference, and he invites her. Like, they get really pissed at the bar, and he brings her back to his hotel, and he's like she's taking his clothes off. And every time she takes something off, she's like, "Oh my God, you're huge." And he's like, "Well, I am from Texas, baby, and everything's big in Texas." And she takes pants off, she takes the shoes off, everything. And she's like, "Oh my God, your feet, like, they're huge. They're so big." He's like, "Well, I am from Texas, and everything's big in Texas, baby." And then he finally takes all her clothes off, and he's kissing her on her neck and her breasts and her stomach. And he goes down and he spreads her legs, and he goes, "Are you from Texas, baby?" Isn't that awful? Space. I told you it was emails. Incorrect.
Yeah. Send you the emails, babe. Send the emails direct.
Send it to Channel 10 or the ABC. Just
send it to Channel 10.
ABC. Complaints at abc./ we don't give a shit.
You're not reading them anyway. Yeah.
Can I tell you one more thing? This is really interesting. One of the first stand-ups that I ever saw on TV that changed my life and that I was really interested in was this ABC show. I don't know what it was called, but there was local comedians on it, and there was this young woman doing this stand-up that spoke to me so personally. Like, it was like, everything she's saying was about growing up, being treated differently because she was overweight at school, being bullied, all these kind of things. Everything she said was so hilarious. And I remember, I'm watching this because the shot was this maybe, and she was thin of like me. Like, you wouldn't see the rest of it. You wouldn't get what was going on from the face. And I kept thinking, why is she making all these fat jokes? Like, why is she talking about herself as a fat person? Like, she's clearly not fat. And then it panned back right at the end as the credits came up. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I can see. Okay. Like, yeah, wow, that's so weird. And it was really weird. It was probably, late 90s. I don't even know what year it was, but it was Michelle Laurie. That was the stand-up that I saw. And I've wanted to tell you for such a long time that there was the most amazing stories you told in this one-off kind of special. I don't know what it was called. It was on the ABC. That's all I knew. We were only ever allowed to watch ABC and SBS in my household. So I was this young adult, but still, if I was at home, only allowed to watch ABC or SBS programs. And it didn't matter what it was. If it was gratuitous, it didn't matter as long as it was on those two channels. And I remember watching this woman thinking, I don't know why you're speaking about things that I'm so relating to, and you're you're one of the most stunning looking things I've ever seen on TV. Why are you speaking like you're a fat girl? And you're clearly not. And then it wasn't until the very end. And it was you, and I've never forgotten you ever.
It's so funny.
Ever again.
Thank you. That was a borrowed suit. I remember I borrowed that outfit from somebody. It was called The Smallest Room in the House. And then
That's it.
Yeah. And then 20 years later, I did a show about, I can't remember what the show was called, but it was about how that weight was now my goal weight.
Yeah.
Like how
I think of that. Like how tiny you really were at the time, how beautiful it would be to be that girl again. And the girl that I was watching.
Last week we were talking about how it's all so relative, isn't it?
How many women do you hear talking about, oh my God, imagine if I got to like size 14, and I'm like, imagine if I got to size 14.
Well, isn't the euphemism, the youth is wasted on the young? It really is.
That's right.
And that's what I was saying to you last week. That's what I keep saying to my daughter Darla, you know, who has my body and my build, and I just keep reinforcing that to her, like, dude, trust me, don't wish this away. You are perfect as you are. Because I think that was a big part of my gaining weight, was obsession with, you know, thinking I was hideous, and that made me overeat and gain weight. Yeah.
Do you look like your mum?
No, my dad. Here's the issue. This is so crazy. So we take after my dad, who was, you know, big, obese, and died of type 2 diabetes and all of that. My mum's tiny. She fucking hates fat people. Except my dad. She was so obsessed with my dad. She loved my dad so dearly. So the rest of us, she's like, oh, she hates fat people. She always talks about, the big fat thing she'll say about a stranger that she sees in the street. I know.
And
but my dad's
children.
Yeah, she was always putting up on diets and all that kind of stuff. But my dad, she couldn't see a wrong thing with my dad. Couldn't see anything wrong.
My father married an obese woman.
Right.
And then had children that had that gene, and gave us the hardest time as soon as our puberty hit, and those kind of genes start to really manifest, and you start to see, you know, what being just growing does. And just the amount of, and I remember as maybe a 25-year-old woman saying to my father, why is she the only one that you're okay with?
I know.
You know, you made me. She made me. 50% of you, 50% of her, who you adore and think is perfect.
Yeah.
Why is it not okay for me to be obese, but it's okay for her to be? You know, and I mean,
because there's something in themselves that they hate.
Yeah,
like I'm sure you remember an infamous. I mean, we're prone to quoting Oprah, so let's go there. There's an infamous episode on Oprah. It would have been maybe late 80s, and there was, long story short, there was a girl whose dad was disgusted by her being overweight, and quite frankly, she was probably a size 14, 16, so whatever. But anyway, and then she lost weight. And even if she wasn't, and Oprah said to the dad, so now that she's thinner, do you love her more? And he said, I have to admit that I do. And oh man, I could tell, because obviously Oprah's been through all of the stuff that Oprah's been through. That's why she knew to ask that question. Because any kid,
but I think that's just such a loaded question, Nellie. Like that's such a programmed response of his. It's like he doesn't love her less or more. He loves what she looks like more.
Oh, no, I agree. She was trying to get him to basically reveal that. You know, that is the thing that so many fat kids feel. That don't say. And it's like, all right, motherfucker, you own this. Are you so superficial that you would love your own child less because of how she looks? This is on you, mate. Like, this is not on this kid. This is on you.
Yeah. My mum just said to my brother Pete 2 days ago, she said, I was looking at those photos of us when we were in New York, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And he said, oh, yeah. And she said, God, you've lost so much weight since then. And I could see him just look at her like, so fucking what? Like, I've had a baby since then. I've got married. Like,
Yeah.
I've gained and I've lost.
Why the fuck would that be a thing? Like,
why? Who cares?
Yeah, but it's so programmed and it's so societal based. And
but you know what, Yvie, I will say, and I know this is not the same in every household, but we're at sample size of 2, and Michelle and I have both grown up as shamed fat kids, and none of that shit goes on my kids, and none of that shit goes on. And I won't tolerate it from other people, and I've never seen her friends do it, even though I've been a teenager. So. No, by no means is anything perfect, but I think
I feel so good to be a mother of a girl, to be able to help her dress,
navigate that,
help her find find clothes, look great, feel good. Like every time I put her in an outfit that looks good, I think, fuck God, how great. I never had that. I never had somebody who helped me navigate it, who didn't just look at me and go, well, maybe if you didn't eat all the time, you might be able to find jeans that fit, like to not do that. Like,
you didn't have a 29 and some months.
You're right.
Going, actually, girlfriend, this is how you contour the face, and this is the kind of face that will suit you. And here's where you can stop, and you don't have to try and look like this.
It really does feel like righting so many of those wrongs and letting a person feel like normal. Letting a person normal.
Totally, and that doesn't matter whether it's weight, periods, relationships,
mental illness, anything like that.
All the stuff that was shameful and handed.
Imagine, kids with red hair, you think, God, they get the same shit, Yeah.
Well, they really should be killed, but no, I'm joking.
Oh my God. Email her. I've got Haagen-Dazs
Channel 10 complaints at channel10.com.
I've always had a thing for red-haired men.
You got a thing for
people do.
I'm like, bring it.
Should we take? Michelle and I will take inquiries on your behalf.
Please
like
do.
What age range are we talking?
Oh, Ronald McDonald and up. What happened with the PTSD cop? He's married.
He's married.
He said to you, oh, thank you, but did you not know I had a wife and 8 children?
Well, I think it might be I don't want to say too much, but I think it might be an ex-wife rekindled situation. Because certainly he was not married.
That can happen.
So, I think it's I think
you're still notorious for setting people up.
And I've got a pretty good track record.
I'm notorious for breaking that shit down and ruining all of people's notoriousness.
Well,
so let's break that.
Going down that challenge. So I'm picking that up, and I'm taking inquiries via Michelle's Facebook.
I'm good.
Oh my God, this has gone longer than this fucking virus. I am out of here.
Okay.
It's gone for a long time. But I love you, girl.
Thank you for listening. If you're still here, I don't understand it, but I bless you. Thank you. And love to you both, and have a great week. And maybe we can do this again.
I won't remember the last half hour of it, so it's fine.
See you next Friday.
Bless you.
I love you both.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Finish. Bye. Bye.
I don't know how to leave.
Me neither.
It's just you and me.